Right, I got cut off, so I've had to do it in two parts and then join them together. So, but I'm proving to you that all these so-called tombs are all houses, buildings, cities built of clay brick, right? And I'm thinking that the reason why clay was used across the whole world, and I'm betting around the time, like in part one when I showed you that even areas in Europe were buried just in meters and meters of clay, that event buried everywhere on this earth, and that was the Dark Ages. That's where I'm coming from, and that's why peoples across the world started building from clay, not just because they lost all their technology, which they will, humans will have reached like 19th century technology at that point, right? But they will have lost all that, and then they started building in clay brick, not just because they didn't have the technology, but to actually get rid of it all, yeah, to actually dig up and utilize the mud, the clay, and that's why the cities, pyramids, buildings all over the place built from clay brick. That's where I'm coming from. But these are houses, yeah, what the Egyptologists call tombs. They call absolutely everything they find tombs, right? And none of them are tombs. All these are all houses. I'm talking about 95% of them are all houses and cities that are underground. Yeah. And, obviously there is a difference from what humans have built, because we've only been here 1,000 years or so, to the megalithic structures, which are above ground, which are, a few thousand feet above sea level, because obviously everything will, all the rest of it that will lower down will be underneath human built structures, right? But what we're looking at here are houses, not tombs, right? And they've been utilised and lived in many times over. And if they're right, and instead of using wallpaper, what they've done is paint, the walls, and then they've lived in them like we do today. And if it's not the Egyptians doing it, so-called Egyptians, then it's Egyptologists creating false paradigms, which is to do with the death cult, yeah. Because they have to do, because they're telling everybody these are tombs, aren't they, right? But you can see that there was something under this picture once. This outline here is not, it's not just falling away like that for no reason. There used to be something else here, right? And it's corroding in that fashion, right? Whatever was here before, you can see it. And not only that, this head of this dog thing, that has been done by Egyptologists. That's what I'm thinking. I hope you can see it. If you can't, check my Google images, but you can actually see the outline of a human being's head, right? Underneath this. This is bullshit. And obviously, along with the fact that this is very fresh, this paint does not last for thousands of years, and it definitely doesn't last for thousands of years in damp conditions, right? I'm going to start showing you white people as well, yeah? There's a lot of white people in this. There will have been black people, but they'll have painted over that. But anyway, this one, try and zoom in a bit. You can see, you see that flower there? There was one there, and it actually goes under this person and comes out of the other side, yeah? There was writings across this all this blue thing which Egyptologists have rubbed out. These dresses here, stupid dress wear. The reason why they're stupid is because there used to be flowers. All this was just a wall full of flowers, which is basically how humans decorate their walls, isn't it? Right? But Egyptologists have... Oh, and by the way, that person there was stood straight up. You can see where his leg came out there, and they've rubbed it away. Right? He was stood straight. Look at the shape of his body. It's unnatural because it's fake, right? And they've made him blue. Yeah, they've turned him blue because it's something to do with death and all this, death of a king and all this crap, right? This wall here, you can see all these scratch lines, yeah? Because Egyptologists, or the people that lived here before, like I said, there were houses, so they will have been lived in many times over. But you can see where they've scratched it all away, the old painting, and then they've made this new painting since, yeah? But, you know, you could almost think that it's Egyptologists doing it, because it almost looks like it's the same artist that's doing them all. And this artist must have been about 6 years old, because that's what it looks like. You know, if you're going to decorate your house, if you're going to build a beautiful house like a lot of these tombs are, you wouldn't be getting the worst artist, right, in Egypt to come in and make a mess of your house. And, you know, they didn't even understand. I mean, just look at that chair. Do you really think a human being could sit on that? No, they couldn't. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, is this something to do with Christmas, yeah? They're lording over a tree and putting on party hats. Stupid. This one is obviously, I think this is in the Valley of the Kings, yeah? But you can even see, you know, how we've got plasterboard when we get a plasterer in, yeah? And your walls are messy, puts plasterboard down, right? Because if you look at this roof, it's cracking in huge, perfect squares, because it will be plasterboard. No different to how we plaster today. That knowledge has never been lost. Like I've said before, everything that we have has all been learnt from previous times, yeah? And archaeology and learning how they built. Everything we know and learn has all been learnt from archaeology, right? And knowledge, old knowledge. But this thing here, Egyptologists have come in and painted that face green, right? I mean, do you really think that you'd have a mummy stood like that with his hands popping out, holding onto a staff? No, you wouldn't, right? They've come and made him green. And look how perfect that green is there compared to the rest of this painting. That green has been done very, very recently. In fact, all these pillars have, with these type figures on, yeah? You can see. You can even see where these bands used to go all the way down. This is actually, when you find this image, they actually call this Jesus in Egypt. I don't know how they get that. I suppose there's some type of idea behind it, but this is some of the main stuff that I'm showing you. Look how fresh that is. Yeah, that's the biggest criminal in archaeology that's ever lived. But, I mean, just look at this. They've obviously reckoned to have excavated this somewhere. But just look at that. So that, you know, I mean, look at all the... even in this you can see bricks, clay, bricks, yeah? Because this is not a tomb where you just dig the floor out and bury somebody. This is obviously a house, yes? That's why there's a door there. This will be just the attic, or you know, the second tier or whatever. And that's why you've got lines in it, because it's built, it's a structure, right? But that has been put in by this prick, can guarantee you. Do you really think it would look like that if it were buried in all this? And there he is again. And this is the Serapeum, right? And I'm telling you, and I know that this was above ground at one time. It will be. Anyway, either way, it was above ground. This is a structure, right? A built structure. At some point I might get into the technology behind this, but it's been done thousands of times, so it's not really my thing. This painting here, when you actually, if you check my Google images or go find these images, you know, just type in images, Egyptian tombs paintings on Google, and you'll get to this link. But you can see that this has been painted over many times over, right? You can see other legs, yeah, other legs and feet and shapes of dresses behind this thing, right? People have come and lived in here many times over. That's what I'm pointing out to you. And you see this a lot as well. I mean, I think these used to be flowers, actually. They just don't make any sense. And again, it's not that old, is it? This is as fresh as it can be. And again, what they're pushing is their Egyptology bullshit about worshipping death and kings and all this. That's what this is about. This one here, you've got Nefertiti embraced Osiris, yeah. Welcome by goddess Nut. Tutankhamun opens the mouth of mummified Nefertiti. What a load of crap. So these are some of the richest people, right, in, you know, Egyptologist's world view, yeah. But yet they've got the crappiest artists that you can imagine. We're talking about primary school artwork here, aren't we? And why is his arms sticking out and embracing this person if he's wrapped for death, yeah? It's because this has been painted white by Egyptologists, right? And his face has been painted green. And not only that, you can see that this picture has been changed either many times over or changed by Egyptologists. You can see other shapes behind it and where they've been knocking them away and changing every single piece, especially this area here. Yeah, you can see that he was actually stood face on. Inspect these images on my Google page and what I'm trying to show you. This was a house, right? It's nothing to do with it being a tomb. This is how people lived, right? I don't whether or not this was fetched in by Egyptologists, right? Maybe, you know, the head of the family died, yeah, and then they buried them in the middle of the floor. But that doesn't mean it was a tomb, does it? These were houses. I'll link a video in this top corner because, you know, a lot of these structures were built with rebar, yeah. We're talking like 19th century technology, rebar structures, and then you put concrete, so it's high technology. But in this picture you can actually see blonde haired people, yeah, blonde haired white humans, yeah. But you can see that it's being whitewashed. It's been whitewashed at least once before. You can see the outline of a person there and other shapes, yeah. And then this painting's been done, so it's either been lived in a few times or Egyptologists have done it. this one, yeah, just look at how fresh this is. That's the only thing I'm showing you in this picture, is look how fresh that image is, and ask yourself, is it thousands of years old? You know, this is not special paint, right? It's not dual lux or anything. This is a close-up on that image that I tried showing you, and you can see where somebody's knocked out shapes and faked it and changed it many times over. There was obviously something down here, and that's been removed. But he's been made into a dead person. That head has been put on there. That head was not originally there. It's not even the right shape, yeah? You would think that an artist, right,